Hey guys, today we're back in the kitchen, and well, as you can see, I have a whole bunch of stuff here to make pierogies. We might be stuck in quarantine, but it doesn't mean we can't eat good for the next few weeks. So, first things first, I'm going to take this dough, roll it out, and show you how to take just some mashed potatoes and a simple dough and turn it into pierogies that will feed you for weeks. So, this dough is super simple. It's 4 cups of flour, a few pinches of salt, and 1 cup of water, 2 eggs, all mixed together, uh, kneaded for about 5 minutes, and then you got a nice supple ball of dough. We're gonna roll this out and then get going to cut in shapes. Now, if you're like me and you realize you don't have a rolling pan, that's all right, guys. I mean, look around the house. You probably got something. Here, I'm using an old wooden vase that my girlfriend doesn't want to use anymore. You could use a bottle of wine, maybe. Uh, you know what? Whatever's around. Get creative. I mean, back in the old country, our grandparents never had all the tools they needed too. So it's all about making do with what you got. As I'm rolling here, I'm rolling, trying to get it really, really thin. Little turn, roll some more, and little by little, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Now this is going to be a lot easier to make it fresh. I made this dough as a test run yesterday. Made half of the batch yesterday, and then I'm finishing up today. So it might take a little bit longer for me to roll this dough just because it's colder and that glute's not going to want to stretch. Of course, this right now, way too thick. We want it, probably half a centimeter thickness or less. Right now we're about a full centimeter or so. So keep rolling. We're going to try and get it basically nice big circle so that we can start cutting our pierogi rounds. Okay, well, we're slowly getting there. One thing I'm finding, it's a little bit harder working this cold dough, but the more and more you work it, the warmer it gets, and I'm adding a bit of water to it to sort of rehydrate it, because overnight in the fridge it got a little bit dry and doesn't want to stretch as much, but a little bit of water helps rehydrate things and make this dough just a bit stretchier. I'm going to keep going. As you can see, my thickness here, little thick still. I just want it just barely so I can see through my hand, and then we'll start cutting a few rounds, making a few pierogies. Okay guys, we're almost there. As you can see, it's getting larger and larger. Still a little bit thick. I want it just a tiny bit thinner, and then we can start making the pierogies. So a few finishing touches here, rolling out from the center all the way out to the ends. That way, more this way. Of course, I'm doing quite a great job with this vase here. And I say we call that done. Alright, now comes the fun part, cutting the rounds so we can actually make some pierogies. Again, back in the old country, sometimes our grandparents didn't have all the tools they needed. They don't have the cookie cutter or the mini cutter or whatever they use to cut, so I'm going to use a glass. Ideally about 3 inches across. This one's almost exactly 3 inches. That'll give you enough space to be able to fold the dough over the filling and seal it up nice and tight. So basically, you want to use most of the dough as possible, and then just kind of start cutting circles, and little by little you'll get yourself a perfect little circle. And then we can start filling those up and making pierogies. So let's cut a bunch of circles. Okay, there we are. 8 circles cut. We'll just get rid of the rest of the dough, and we will add it back to our dough pile and continue rolling and cutting pierogies all day. It's just a small batch for showing you all right now. The next step, of course, is taking our mashed potatoes and filling these pierogies, sealing them up one by one. This is a pretty basic mashed potato recipe. Just boil your mashed potatoes, mash them. I tossed in a half onion into this batch, so you get that nice oniony flavor when you bite into the pierogies. Salt, pepper this up, and well, that's your filling. So we're going to go one by one, filling these little bad boys up with about a teaspoon of our potato rolled into a little ball. Take our little dough round. We're going to Stretch the dough around the filling and then seal it up to make sure that none of the filling gets in between the two ends, and then just pinch that real nice and tight. Real tight so that nothing explodes when we're boiling them and frying them later. Oh, so you run into an issue here. Too much filling inside of the pierogi. So I can try and salvage this by just stretching the dough over. And I might just be able to save this one. I'll do this one as a tester to see if it will in fact explode when I boil and fry them, but usually you want a bit more dough on dough connection as you pinch these guys shut. Okay, well, we've got that traditional half moon shape, so we'll toss that to the side. We'll try filling up a few more. This time I'm going to take a little bit less of our mashed potato mixture. Now I'm going to try and make as many of these as I can the next couple days. Toss them in the freezer, about a dozen at a time. And hopefully these will last me well into the future. Good, pressing that in there. Very nice. I think these are going to turn out just fine. Now there's a few different ways that you can actually seal these off. Lisa and I were messing around yesterday. So when we get to here, there's another fun way that you can seal these off. The one traditional way is to just kind of bring these two tips and really flare them out super long, and then wrap them around and pinch them together, making a more traditional, I don't know, it looks sort of like an Italian shape. These end up making sort of like a sombrero hat style, but just a little bit different than that half moon shape, so that's always a fun one to do as well. And then the other way, I call this the fold over grandma style. So let's grab a little teaspoon of that filling, toss it in the center there, pull over, good, seal nice and tight, make sure that nothing is be falling out of there, good. Really press these shut. You don't want any tiny seams at all, because water gets in there and well, basically you're hooped. So this will be a good one for that fold over method. I've made the seal very wide, so basically we just tuck and pinch and tuck a bit further and pinch and then tuck again and pinch and then tuck again and pinch and then one more tuck and pinch. Ain't that cute? I'm getting the eyes from my girlfriend. She wants to show you guys how she does them traditional Russian style, so I'm going to let her take over for a sec.
Hi everybody, Lisa here. I'm going to show you how I'm doing it the traditional way, how my grandma used to make it. When I was little, she would make me the filling girl, and I would actually have to grab all the filling and put it one by one into each little pocket. And then eventually when I grew up, she said that I can do it as well and start folding them in. So it's just like the same method. You basically are stretching it out and putting it like Adam did, the half little crescents, and make sure that no filling is falling out or spilling out, because yeah, that would be very bad. It will just open up in the water. So you just keep on pressing. I usually like to make it a little bit thinner at the ends, just because then it can get really crunchy and nice. Then eventually you take your two sides right here and you fold one over and you make sure they're nice and tug. This is how you make a pilmeni, which is more pierogies but filled with meat. It's the Russian version, so this is how usually pilmeni looks like, but at the same time you can use it with every filling, and this is its little butt. It's really cute, and I really like it, and it's my favorite method of making a pierogi. So thanks for listening to my little ramble, and go back to Adam now.
Alright guys, so we've got our pierogies all made up. Chopped onions to fry them up later, and we've got some water boiling on the stove. So let's head over to the stove, plop these in, give them a quick boil, quick fry, and well, there we go. Alright, here's our water, nice and boiling. So we're just going to take our pierogies and drop them in for about 3 minutes. Here they are in the spider, slowly dropping them in. And there you go. Hey Google, set a timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
I also have my pan here heating up for the onions, so I'm just going to splash a bit of olive oil in there. Toss in my onions to get them nice and translucent around the edges. And I've also got a little extra ingredient. I ran out of garlic, but what I do have, and what I did find, was a little bit of garlic in the bottom of my pickle jar. So that's just going to add even extra little bit of flavor. When we're about half done, we want to make sure that they're not sticking to the bottom. Give these guys a little bit of a stir. You'll know they're done at the 3 minute mark or the second they just start rising up. We'll just move these around a little bit, get everything nice and incorporated with oil. Very nice. We're doing this on about a medium heat. Again, don't want to burn them, just want to get them nice and translucent, warm up a little bit of caramelization going. Okay, we're almost done here. You can see a few of them are starting to float up. So I'm slowly going to transfer them over to the already heated pan so I can crisp these up a little bit. Of course, you could just eat them right after you're done boiling them, but I like to get them nice and crispy so that they get that extra bit of flavor. Now I've already got some oil in the pan from when I was doing the onions, prepping them. You see I've pushed the onions over to give some space for these bad boys. And I'll add one more thing to the pan. A little bit of butter. Having oil and butter in the pan actually help. The oil helps the butter from burning. So whenever you're cooking, if you ever want things to stop burning, or butter to stop burning, a little bit of oil and butter together make everything better. Make sure everything's nice and incorporated. When you do one side, get that nice and golden brown, and then other side as well. I'm gonna ditch this water and finish these up nice and perfect. Okay, we're back over at the frying station here. You can see that butter sizzling real nice now. We'll just start to smell these guys once they're nice and golden, and we'll give them a flip. Okay, just gonna start flipping these over now. I can tell they're trying to get some real nice color. I've moved over the onions a bit too to start reincorporating all those flavors together. We'll give them a quick char on the other side, and well, heck, I'd say we're about done. Okay guys, well, time to plate up. Of course, it wouldn't be pierogies without sauerkraut and a bit of pickles. We'll just tuck a little bit more on the side here. And well, that's about it. We'll finish off today with a couple shots of pickle juice. And well, that's a meal. I'm going to spend the rest of the day making more pierogies. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.